Hello, you're kicking off the Saturday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin. You're with Milinchi and the deadlines. Party General Secretary Tolam attends opening of new school year 2025-2026. Minister of Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces visits National Achievements Exhibition. At the years of independence, Vietnam rising strong. On September the 5th, the Ministry of Education and Training held a ceremony at the National Convention Center in Hanoi to mark the 80th anniversary of the Education Center and officially opened the 2025-2026 academic year. Party General Secretary Tolam delivered a keynote address. Also present were President Lương Cường, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn, along with leaders and former leaders of the party, state and central agencies. The ceremony was organized in person in Hanoi and connected online to our education institutions nationwide, from preschools to universities, both public and private. The event celebrated the proud traditions of Vietnam's education sector by promoting a spirit of innovation and creativity for high-quality and effective school year. For the first time, teachers and students across the country simultaneously joined the flag-raising ceremony and sang the national anthem as part of the nationwide opening. Party General Secretary Tolam delivered his address and struck the ceremonial drum to inaugurate the new school year. In his speech, he emphasized the importance of honoring generations of teachers and education managers while reaffirming the nation's determination to advance comprehensive reforms. He stressed that education must remain a top national priority and a vital driver of the country's development and future. During the ceremony, first-class labor order was awarded to the Ministry of Education and Training. On September the 5th, a delegation from the Central Military Commission's State Committee 3488, led by Senior Lieutenant General Lê Huy Vịnh, Deputy Defense Minister, inspected the implementation of Resolution No. 57 of the Party Central Committee and Resolution 3488 of the Central Military Commissions at the Vietnam-Russia Tropical Center. Thoroughly embracing the resolutions, the Party Central Committee of the Center has provided strong leadership, linking scientific research with practice and achieving significant outcomes. Science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation have advanced remarkably, with many products applied effectively in defense and socio-economic development. Digitalization has been accelerated, while administrative reforms have been implemented promptly and comprehensively. From 2020 to 2025, the Center has introduced 29 products and technologies, including 18 serving defense tasks and 11 for dual use. Senior Lieutenant General Lê Huy Vịnh highlighted the need for the Center to further advance science, technology, and digital transformation while taking advantage of cooperation with the Russian Federation. He stressed mastering and developing strategic technologies in new materials, biotechnology, medicine, environmental treatment, artificial intelligence, and big data. Equally important is building a contingent of highly qualified scientists equipped with digital and foreign language skills to meet the requirements of international integration. Also on September the 5th, Senior Lieutenant General Lê Huy Vịnh, Deputy Defense Minister, chaired a conference on implementing Government Decree No. 179 dated July the 1st, 2025, which regulates allowances for personnel specializing in digital transformation, cyber information security, and cyber security. Decree No. 179 shows the government's determination to push forward digital transformation. It is a key policy to attract and retain high-quality human resources, thereby promoting the national digital transformation process. Deputy Minister Lê Huy Vịnh urged agencies and units to fully identify all relevant personnel, ensuring fairness and timely encouragement. Effective implementation in the Ministry of National Defense will strengthen professional technology staff and meet the military's development requirements amid rapid digital transformation. The Department of Finance, Command 86, and other agencies have led studies and workshops to gather input and draft a circular for the decree's implementation. As part of his official visit to Vietnam to attend the 80th anniversary of the August Revolution and the National Day of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, on September 5th, Colonel General Alvaro Lopez Miera, Minister of the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces, visited the National Achievements Exhibition themed 80 Years of Independence, Freedom and Happiness at the National Exhibition and Fair Center. The visit holds personal significance in the Vietnam-Cuba Friendship Year, marking 65 years of diplomatic ties. It helps further strengthen the traditional solidarity and friendship between Vietnam and Cuba, as well as defense cooperation between the two ministries of national defense. After touring the exhibition, especially the display area of the Ministry of National Defense, Colonel General Alvaro Lopez Miera expressed his admiration for Vietnam's beauty, heroic record, and the combat strength of the Vietnam People's Army. He affirmed that Cuba is always proud to have Vietnam as a sincere friend. The two peoples have stood side by side in hardship and in building and safeguarding their nations. He stressed that Cuba always treasures and promotes its pure, loyal, and enduring solidarity and considers it as an invaluable asset. On September the 5th, at Nội Bài International Airport, Hanoi, a farewell ceremony was held for the delegation of Russian armed forces returning home. At the invitation of the Ministry of National Defense of Vietnam, more than 30 servicemen from Independent Guards Pro-Bantansky Regiment 154 successfully joined the Guard Parade celebrating the 80th anniversary of the August Revolution and the National Day of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, September the 2nd. This meaningful defense diplomatic activity demonstrated close defense cooperation between Vietnam and Russia, conveyed a message of peace and international solidarity, and helped promote Vietnam's image worldwide. Coming up next, Vietnam efforts to advance Human Development Index. 80 years of independence, Vietnam rising strong. Vietnam has made impressive strides in human development, lifting millions out of poverty while improving education, healthcare, and quality of life. Marking Vietnam's 80th National Day, our reporter spoke with UNDP resident representative in Vietnam, Raman Kandi, about the nation's efforts to ensure a better life for its people.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. How do you assess Vietnam's efforts and achievements in promoting sustainable development and improving its Human Development Index?
First of all, allow me to congratulate Vietnam for 80 years of independence, 80 years of continued prosperity, and 80 years where we've really seen human development indicators continue to improve. Vietnam has gone from a country that was considered low on the Human Development Index to a country that is today high on the Human Development Index. And I believe that Vietnam has become a model because it has centered and focused human development. It's focused on people first at the center, and it's really focused on poverty reduction. So we've seen millions of people really lifted out of poverty in the past few decades. And we recognize also that there are continued challenges ahead. One challenge is a continued and persistent inequality. Another challenge is a demographic challenge. And Vietnam, like many countries in the region, is aging. And with aging, there's going to be greater demand on healthcare, a reduction in the workforce. And a third and final one, I think, is climate and climate resilience. So we saw how climate change, whether in the Mekong Delta or in the center or indeed here in the north, can actually reverse the gains that are made in human development. So we see that continued focus on people-centered development, inclusive growth, but also attention to these three challenges.
In your opinion, what are the key factors that have made a difference in Vietnam's development journey from a struggling economy to one of the most dynamic developing countries in the region?
I would say that the answer to that question is first and foremost political will, and secondly, implementation. Actually taking forward the vision and making sure that it is implemented. And we saw very much how the Đối Ngoại reforms, in fact, influenced and allowed Vietnam to leapfrog forward in human development. looking forward, we also see the potential of the new reforms in this new era to bring forth a new era of prosperity, a new era of growth, and a new era where all citizens benefit and continue to contribute to this flourishing and prosperous economy. And we also see some risks. Risks that are sometimes external, like reductions in global investment, tariff wars impacting export-oriented countries like Vietnam. The second risk is climate change. And a third one is more internal, that the informal economy continues to be a very large part of the economy. And so making sure that going forward, social protection mechanisms are in place for those who are most vulnerable will be particularly important. But we believe that the reforms are intended to bring about efficiency and services that are closer to the citizens, and very much hope that they can continue to contribute to Vietnam's.
From a poor, backward country heavily devastated by war, Vietnam today has risen strongly, becoming a bright spot on the regional and world map. On that 8-decade journey, it stepped up economic development, its cultural achievement, its diplomatic mark a vivid proof of the aspiration to rise, the mettle, intelligence, and strong will of the Vietnamese people. Let us look back on the 80-year journey of construction and development, from economy, culture to diplomacy, to clearly see a Vietnam that is increasingly confident, dynamic, and deeply integrated with the world. In 1945, Vietnam gained independence amidst extreme famine, with over 2 million people starving to death. The economy lacked factories, capital, and technology. From the ashes of war and those hungry days, after 80 years, Vietnam has risen strongly, creating an economic growth miracle achieved by few nations. The economy has a GDP ranking 33rd in the world. GDP has increased more than 400 times compared to the first year of the Đổi Mới renewal period. Vietnam is among the top 20 leading global economies in trade and investment interaction, ranked 23rd in the world in export turnover. Notably, it holds a top 5 position globally for coffee, cashew nuts, and electronic components, and is among the top 3 in the world for rice export, asserting its position on the global food security map. Vietnam has now become a major food exporter, developed production, and still maintains its socialist orientation. Finding a path to sustainable development is a great success of the Communist Party of Vietnam. 80 years of national construction is also 80 years that Vietnam has chosen to restore and develop its national culture within the flow of international cultural integration. A culture that is both rich in identity and open, but never loses itself. More than 7,000 traditional festivals, over 170 special national relics, and 16 intangible cultural heritages honored by UNESCO. Vietnam has been undertaking many important positions at UNESCO. Its value is the brilliant mark imprinted on the world cultural map.
Republic of Korea and Vietnam elected.
Mỗi một di sản được ghi danh nó thể hiện một cái vị thế quốc gia.
Its inquired heritage art demonstrates our nation's position on the international stage. The world knows Vietnam better, and from that, the world's view of Vietnam becomes more accurate, more favorable, and fairer regarding the Vietnamese people.
Thiện cảm hơn và đúng hơn về người Việt Nam.
In a volatile world, Vietnam remains steadfast in its foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, diversification, and multilateralization, being a friend, a reliable partner, and responsible member of the international community. Dozens of strategic partnerships and comprehensive partnerships have been established with major countries and key economies. Vietnam proactively participates in and hosts many prestigious bilateral and multilateral global forums, continuously consolidating its position as a destination for peace, stability, and development.
By diversifying and multilateralizing your foreign relations, Vietnam began to develop specific strategic partnerships. China, India, now 11. So it is slowly built up over time.
8 decades later, under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam, the entire Vietnamese nation has united, liberated the nation, unified the country, successfully carried out the Đối Ngoại renewal process, and is firmly advancing towards socialism. Taking the happiness and well-being of the people as its ultimate goal, Vietnam is regarded by the United Nations and international friends as a success story, a bright spot in hunger eradication and poverty reduction, constantly raising the material and spiritual life of the people. It is the end of the English News Bulletin today. You can watch the news again at QPVN.vn. For goodbye and see you next time.